Welcome to the ThunderCast, your martial athletics podcast produced by the fans, for the fans, with your hosts, Russ Livingood and KD Hugnall. We're bringing you the thundering word on the thundering herd each and every week, so keep it right here. The ThunderCast is on the loose. Thanks for downloading another episode of the ThunderCast. You can follow us on Twitter at ThunderCast_pod. Also, we are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. And you can listen to the show anywhere you like to listen to your favorite audio podcast. We are literally everywhere. And, of course, you can watch us on the ThunderCast YouTube channel. I'm sitting in for Jed this week because, well, I'm a little laid up. I had to miss work for a couple of days. And, Jed had a previous engagement, so Russ said, "You free?" I just happened to be free, so I'm going to hang out with him one more time this week, and we're going to bring you guys at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know. We're going to take you around the herd just like the good old days. Russ, let's get into this. What do you say? How about a word from our sponsors at Leasure Oliver PLLC?
If you've been hurt in a wreck, call the law firm of Leasure Oliver PLLC. Find them at 304carwreck.com.
Well, everybody listened to our transfer portal update episode, so we know that's behind us, and that means that was the busiest time of this early year. But we are in full swing in several other sports. We got other sports gearing up, and that means there's news floating around. So how about you give me at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week?
And now, here are at least 5 things every herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by ignite.link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team.
All right, KD, we're going to start off with number 1 here, and this is because of the news that it's changing, but it keeps getting worse, and we're talking about the weather for this weekend, and that means there are some schedule updates that we have to talk about. They've come out and said, why don't we change these things up here? So got a little graphic that I'm going to show you so everybody can see these times while we talk about these times, and that is tomorrow, the men's basketball game versus ULM. It says that is now 5 p.m. Well, I have to tell you, when this graphic came out, it said 5 p.m. Currently, right now on Herd Zone, it says noon.
Oh.
So you will want to check Herd Zone, and you will want to check social media to make sure, because of this weather, the way it's changing, and this one is all based on, if I had to guess, ULM wanting to try to get back south as early as they can. This game might be a different time than what this graphic says. I can't tell you with 100% certainty right now, because I imagine between now and then, things are kind of in flux. Once they're up here, they may decide, hey, we're going to have to move the game up a little bit. We need to get in, travel, that sort of thing. I know that sucks for the fans, but what else are you going to do? I mean, this happens sometimes, and this is just safe is what they're doing.
Yeah, this is not something I can relate to anymore. I had to deal with it last year when we were up in Kentucky, and it did take some getting used to again. I found out, I'm out of the swing of things when it comes to having to account for the weather. And what else can you do other than try to get the game in? You don't want to cancel the game or postpone the game. You don't want to do anything like that. You want to try to keep everybody on the normal schedule if possible. But man, if Mother Nature remains undefeated, and ultimately she's the one that's going to dictate if this is a safe environment or not, and going to really dictate if fans are going to hit the highways and come to the cam to watch this game. Keep an eye on Herd Zone. Obviously, if the game has moved once, it could move again. So just an unfortunate state of affairs right now for the herd this week as it relates to some of these games. But I don't know if you have this as one of the things, but I'm going to cheat and maybe ruin one if possible. But for this game, for this ULM game on 1/22, because I'm not going to say it's because of the schedule update. It probably has a lot to do with it. Herdman's Basketball tweeted out just a little bit ago that they've got a flash sale going on, which means you can get discounted tickets. They've got a $10 flash sale going on, $10 tickets to this game against ULM because of a noon tip. So if that helps you get off the fence and come to the game, maybe brave the weather, then awesome. But otherwise, I would just say you're going to have to plan accordingly.
So did that actually say because of a noon tip?
Actually, the tweet reads, like emergency red light. Noon tip means a deal for you. Red light emergency $10 tickets with a link, and then a graphic of Spear with flash sale $10 tickets and ULM's logo. So I'm saying yes.
Okay, because the graphic that we have right here, Spear is on there at noon for Saturday's game with South Alabama.
Yes, but no, it has the ULM logo on the graphic, so
Okay.
it is specifically for the ULM game.
And that is for, does it say the 22nd on
yes.
there? Okay.
It is it is exact what we're looking at right here, that exact square with the exact date.
Okay, except for that's not Spear on with ULM.
Correct.
Okay, and this says 5 p.m. and yours says noon.
There, does that help?
Yeah. No, I'm just trying to tell everybody at home because I don't have that graphic to load. I was going to say that this game was $10, but like I didn't know if it was an error on Herd Zone.
No.
Because this graphic said 5, and now the other thing says noon, and it says it on Herd Zone. So we're going to go with noon since that graphic is coming out for that.
Yeah.
But just something to keep your eye on with everything with that. But the 22nd is tomorrow, Thursday at noon.
You're going to have to listen to this episode, decide you want to go, and get your tickets quick because this will be up. It'll be mere hours before game time, probably.
No, I'm putting it up tonight.
Okay, good.
This will be up tonight. Is Wednesday as we record. It's 6:00 right now. This will be up as you listen to it. Hopefully, it'll be around 8. But the other things, unless they get moved, because Saturday is when it's supposed to start snowing really heavily. Swim and Dive is hosting, and this is their last regular season meet of the year. And we're going to talk about that in Around the Herd. Over at the Fitch, that is now 9:30 a.m. When they're hosting Toledo. So make sure you're aware of that. And then noon on Saturday, that is when this graphic that I'm showing everybody, and if you're listening at home, you don't know what the hell we're showing. Saturday at noon, they will host South Alabama, and we really, really hope there are no other changes to this. We're giving you the information that we have, but it sounds like this Thursday game, the 22nd, there's a flash sale, $10. Game time has been moved a second time to noon.
Yeah.
We're doing the best we can, guys, but we'll also, as soon as we have it, we are going to have this on our social media.
Yep.
All right, so that is that one. Going to move on to
chaotic
number 2.
way to start. Holy shit!
And baseball tickets are now on sale, and we have the schedule up here for you. You can see that. I'm not going to go over all these. It might get changed because of this weather that we're having this weekend. Just kidding, obviously, but. We do have a pretty good schedule here. We got Troy at home. They are always really good. We've got Coastal, who is always really good, and ODU is always pretty good in the Sun Belt. So we've got a decent schedule. Haven't seen the away game, but your tickets are on sale right now. Get your tickets. Get over to the Jack and support the Herd.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about that real quick, because you get Coastal Carolina and Troy in a weekend series at home. That's two major Sun Belt players perennially, annually. And then you get a couple of Power League games. You get West Virginia, of course, of the Jack as part of a 3-game set, one at not Laidley, but one at Power Park, and then one up in Morgantown. And then Virginia Tech at home, too. Pretty cool, man. So lots of opportunities, but I think that if you're looking at a marquee series or a couple of marquee series, I'm not going to take anything away from Old Dominion either, but Coastal's in a kind of up here, and everybody else, Southern Miss kind of plays in that realm a little bit too. Louisiana trickles in that realm a little bit too, but Coastal Carolina is in a realm all by themselves right now, and you get that weekend series at home. Herd fans ought to show up and show absolutely out for that series, because they're going to need, imagine, not just taking one or two, imagine sweeping that home series and what shockwaves that would send through not just Sunbelt baseball circles, but national collegiate baseball circles. So if you look at this schedule, obviously your easiest way to get tickets to that is to get some season tickets. But as soon as you're able, I would secure tickets to at least one of those games that weekend, because it's going to be an awesome series. Big opportunity for the Herd at the Jack.
Moving on to some more of the Diamond sports, and we're actually going to be talking about Diamond Leslie. She comes in at number 53 on D1 softball's preseason mid-major. They call it the D100 for D1 softball. Was a freshman phenom last year. Did it in the field with running down line drives in the gap. Didn't seem like any ball was safe out there that she couldn't catch. She had a rocket arm, had a bunch of outfield assists, was just crazy fast on the base path, and she hit very well. I mean, just it looks like a 5-tool player, and getting some preseason recognition here.
Yeah, Diamond Leslie tore it up last year, and it actually to the point to where we wondered if we were going to be able to retain her. Would some larger schools come calling? Would she feel like that she needed to go somewhere else to have a bigger impact? But it was really awesome to see her stick with the Herd, stick with Morgan Zirkle and this new revamped coaching staff in Huntington, and kind of be a centerpiece of what Herd softball is going to look like this year. She's undoubtedly going to be a massive part of the successes of Herd softball. She is absolutely one to watch, and how can you forget a name like Diamond Leslie? She's already been a fan favorite, and if you start to pay attention, if this is the year that you get sick of the Thundercast talking about softball because you're not paying attention to it, and you've decided, all right, I'm going to pay attention, undoubtedly she will also become one of your favorites really fast.
AD, before I move off of number 3 here to go to number 4, there was a thing that I just overlooked. Obviously, you did too, or you would have called me on this, but they did announce right before that flash sale graphic, there is an additional tweet that says game time changed. Thursday's matchup with ULM will now tip off at noon at the Cam Henderson Center. This is a change from a previously announced time of 5 p.m. So they changed it to 5. Now it's been changed again till noon. We can confirm that. You don't need to call around, see what's going on. It's noon.
Yeah, well, that pre-sale or flash sale tweet also says a noon tip means a deal for you. So kind of basically confirmed it there. But still, yep, count on being noon. The only thing I'm going to say is, can it be earlier? That was the only thing I would worry about. We're going to have a 6 a.m. tip down there at the Cam if you guys want to catch some early morning basketball.
I don't think so on Thursday for a Saturday snow squall that's coming in. I think ULM has plenty of time to get home. All right, number 4. Man, soccer is reloading. Came across with 5 different signees here. I'm going to bring up their graphics for each one of these and have us be able to talk about them a little bit. This was Lazarus Osira, and all of these names I am hoping that I am saying correctly. We have seen them in print. We have not heard them with our ears. So please correct us if you know. Also, we have Kumpe Yamaoka. We have Ron Pressler. We have Luka Lukic. And just announced, probably about an hour before we started recording, Andrew Armstrong. Mm-hmm. KD, tell us about the reload that we get every single year with this group.
I can steal a line from you and sum it up really in one sentence. I believe in Chris Grassie. I don't have to expand on that. Marshall men's soccer is well documented for their successes and post season play and NCAA tournament appearances and all those things. I believe in Chris Grassie. If Chris Grassie says this player will help the Herd, that's all I need to know about. I don't care if The guy has little to no stats at his previous stops. I don't care if he's an international player, an American-born player. It doesn't matter to me. If Chris Grassy and his staff looks at you and says, this guy will succeed in Huntington, this guy will help propel us to the standard that we are used to putting out there at the vet, that's good enough for me. The reload always continues in Huntington until it doesn't. And there just does not seem like there's any sort of indication that this train is close to derailing. Chris Grassy puts on a competitive squad year in and year out. They compete for the SBC title year in and year out. They compete for the NCAA tournament year in and year out. I believe in Chris Grassy.
I got nothing else to say other than, yeah, I'm glad you did steal that line from me because it's perfect. I think every fan at Marshall believes in Chris Grassy, and deservedly so. You don't get that fans buying in at that percentage or that level without a resume like his. And I mean, 2 times in the national championship in 5 years, man, come on.
Well, there's how many different data points can you look at and just prove that this program is amongst the top tier in the country? But just at Marshall, I can look at a bunch of different things to say, to prove my point. How many venues have had to be expanded because of successes in recent years? One, right? And it's the vet, and it's because they sell it out all the time and they needed to have more seating. And that is the number one indicator to me that not only is this program on the rise, it's already risen and it has maintained that height, so much so that you have to expand the damn seating. Nothing tells you more than that they are on another level as compared to pretty much every other program at Marshall.
All right, our fifth and final thing is something that you're going to love talking about. We signed a 4-game series with Toledo. They are back on our schedule. We're going to talk about that. I'm going to put the graphic up in just a second. And also, they announced that Gardner Webb will complete our 2026 schedule. Here is the graphic that has the dates. You can see that starts with an away game in 2030.
Yeah. Number one, Gardner Webb on the schedule. Excuse me, for 2026. Okay, whatever. It's a game. We needed an opponent for 2026. Obviously, Gardner Webb does not blow me away because we played them just a couple of years ago and whatever. So the only thing that some people might get excited about is that former Marshall quarterback Cole Pennington plays the Gardner Webb, and he tweeted not too long ago when the portal era or the portal cycle was about to begin that he was coming back to Gardner Webb. So it might be an opportunity if he wins that job in the fall for him to face the Herd, which will be cool for some people. And if he wins the job, I think that would be pretty cool just as a Marshall fan as well. But other than that, nothing about Gardner Webb excites me. It's a game. We needed a game. We got a game. Toledo, though, 4-game series, man, this is really in our wheelhouse, as this is our era of undergrads and that MAC era. I mean, we played some real all-time games against Toledo, and this is one that for one reason or another we haven't had them on the schedule, and now we get a 4-game series. Doesn't start till 2030, but I like it. Toledo has been a really high-performing school for the past, 6-8 years. They've more than held their own in the MAC. They've made noise nationally. So this is a good opponent. If you're going to get a MAC opponent, it doesn't really get much better than putting Toledo on the schedule. I think some fans will also argue Ohio as well because they're a historic rival. But if you're not looking at that avenue of it, Toledo's about as good as you can get in the MAC. And I think this is a series that a lot of fans are going to be excited by. I'm getting excited about it. I can't believe that you didn't upload the video that I made yesterday in response to what Toledo put out there. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I want to get your response to this 4-game series as well. It's not just me.
4.5 hours away. It's the drivable game. They have been in the upper levels of the MAC, which, it's not that the entire MAC is a bad conference, is that the bottom half of the MAC or the bottom 4 in the MAC have really been toward the bottom 10 in the country. And that's what's kind of bringing them down. But Ohio and Toledo and NIU that just left, they have been doing some really good work year in, year out to stay up there, stay relevant, and be a threat. And Toledo's one of them. You know, they have averaged, what is it? I think they've had 8 wins. I can't remember what I looked up, 8 wins for so many years in a row. But this is a series that when we played them, there was a lot on the line. Even when we beat them, it was within a touchdown a couple of different times. And then they got us a couple of times. And that is one that, especially that MAC championship game where they got us, that one sticks in still. And, you know, we famously have, you and I, experienced quite a bit at Toledo games at the Joan, even before it was called the Joan. And I remember a couch on Fifth Avenue taking up 2 lanes right after one of those games. So this is something that I think is really good. I commented to a mutual friend of ours that was asking me about this, and I said, you know, it's increasingly rare that you're going to get P4 squads for a home game. And that's the model they're wanting to go to now. They want to have 9 conference games, so that limits, you know, their out of conference things. And a lot of times they're not going to say, "Oh yeah, we got 3 out of conference games. Why don't I do a 1-to-1 trade off with Marshall, and we'll go to Huntington?" You know, their conferences are telling them not to do that. I'm sure ESPN and the money behind them is telling them not to do that. Hey, get this game. It's better for ratings. It's better for this. It's blah, blah, blah. You can make the playoffs. It's becoming more rare. So what do you need to do? You need to have some really good G6 opponents. And I feel like this is one. And it's not just because of their record. It's because of the history that we have with them. And again, 4.5 hours away. You know, that's closer than everybody in our conference. Had to make sure Harrisonburg is right there. It's 4:15 to 4:30, but it's right there as well. So this is almost like a conference game again.
Yeah, and I'm not even joking. Like, this kind of sparked up some of that nostalgia of being an undergrad again and playing in some of those really tight, really heated games. You know, this is an era where some of Marshall's all-time greats were playing against some of Toledo's all-time greats. And before I even get any further into that, I don't want to like, if some Toledo fans happen upon this section of our show, I don't want to make it sound like we're dumping on the MAC, because the Sun Belt is really no different in some capacities of what you were talking about. The bottom of the Sun Belt also falls in those bottom 10 teams in the country. So we're very kind of similar. It's just that I think we have more competitive teams that can win it all from top to bottom, or from middle to top to middle, than the MAC does. They're really top heavy, and I think the Sun Belt is just a more competitive conference overall. It's just our bad teams are equally as bad as their bad teams. Now, the nostalgia factor for this one, for me, is off the charts. And, you know, I do think back to being a freshman and a sophomore and winning that MAC championship. And in the snow, the 97 game in the snow, I was just talking about that to my son last night. I was watching clips and I was like, man, this game, look at that. This is football. You know, they were like, you couldn't even see the yard markers on the line, on the field in the first half, because the snow just kept dumping down. And it wasn't really until the teams went in for halftime that they got out there and cleared off the yard markers and everything. And it was just really cool trip down memory lane. And, you know, I think some of the things that we know that happened in the aftermath of some of these games really just make it even better to have this series and I'll call it a rivalry renewed, MAC era rivalry renewed. But I want to talk about that video, because Toledo said, the official Toledo account on X said, you know, you asked and we listened, as in their fans were saying, we want Marshall on the schedule. Why can't we get Marshall? What the hell? Like, and so they worked a deal and finally got the Herd on the schedule, and they tweeted a little hype video about it. And, you were talking about they got us one time, and it was in 2001. We were playing for One for the Thumb in 2001, and that MAC championship was up in Toledo, and they beat us in that one. And they decided to make a highlight video to, boast about beating Marshall that one time in the MAC championship for their tweet. Well, I took it upon myself in our account to create a little highlight video of our own, and kind of showcase the 3 MAC championships that we beat Toledo for. And so, yeah, you can have your 1. We've got 3, and there were some other regular season games that were real dust ups, man. They were great games. So this is just a good team to have back on the schedule. I'm looking forward to this series. I haven't been excited about a series in a while. That like a G6 series. I was excited when they announced Boise. I was excited when they announced Army and Navy, and we see how kind of those turned out. But I'm excited for Toledo. I'm looking forward to 2030 and especially 2031, getting that first one at the gym.
Yeah, 3 different times in the MAC championship we beat them. 1 time they beat us. 4 times here in 5 or 4 times in 6 years that because we obviously beat in let's see, yeah, Western Michigan both in 99 and 2000.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, that does it for 5 things. We got some good discussion on there because there were some really cool things to talk about. So that does it for 5 things every Herd fan needs to know this week. As always, brought to you by ignite.link, the Tri-State's premier IT management team. KD, I am going to send you something that you'll need to look at. You won't need to read this or anything. Just when we get to Around the Herd here, I'm sending it to you now just for your reference. But let's let Layer 1 Solutions take us around the herd.
And now, Layer 1 Solutions, your experts in business connectivity infrastructure, takes you around the herd.
How about that?
No, I want to read it.
Yeah, no, please do not. It's it's nothing at home. It's just for those of you at home, it's the unreal stats that we have that we could talk about for track and field, and that's who we're gonna lead with here. But that's what we're going to start with is track and field. And Jed mentioned on the show last week, he said he had a feeling that after this Bellarmine meet that we were going to have a lot more to talk about, maybe have some things in 5 things and all that. And we do. We didn't put them in 5 things because it would have been 105 things. But I just wanted to go over that a little bit with you, but I wanted you to be able to see this as well. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to talk real quick about one thing that is just ridiculously cool because we were just talking about 1997 Toledo game, MAC championship, Randy Moss. Well, here's a good little segue for you. We had someone that came dangerously close to beating Randy Moss's 1997 track and field record that he still has. That's Joey Blowbaum in the 200 meter. He came out fractions below at 21 seconds, 0.33 seconds. Randy Moss was 21.15 seconds. Before we get into anything else, I just want to talk about that because when you are putting yourself right there, just a fraction of a step, that might be leaning your head in to get to that you're right there with Randy Moss, you are moving. So thoughts on that before we get into the other 104 things we could talk about with this amazing track and field team?
Well, the first thing you think about is what was going through his head when he had to feel good coming off at the start, felt good through the sprint, and then he gets finished, and he's probably thinking, "Man, that was really good. That was I feel good about that one." Then the time comes in, and I feel like if I were a track athlete, I would have that time memorized. Like I know I can beat Randy Moss if I beat this, and to see it come so close but still not do it, I think, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do this. So. Dude, this is one of those things, and we throw this around a lot, like we as in people that talk about sports. they say the thing, if you're in the same breath as XYZ player. But if you find yourself in the same breath as Randy Moss in anything sports related, you have done something. And especially when you're talking about sprints in track and field, you are really doing something. That's awesome, man. That is freaking awesome. And it's, as big of a Marshall / Randy Moss fan as I am because of, like the area I grew up in and the whole thing. And I like to see his record stand forever. It would not break my heart to see a record like this fall, because that means we are positioning this track and field program into even a different echelon than where we even thought that we were positioning him. This is freaking awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. We're going to hit these little segment by segment. The top one here, it says top 5 marks in school history. There were 10 at this event that they moved into the top 5. We had the very same thing at the previous meet the week before. 6 of those 10 that made it into the top 5 in their respective events in school history, 6 of them were second in school history now. Event winners 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 different wins in these events. Meet records. So this is at that Bellarmine meet. OT Omot in the triple jump, Joey Blowbaum in the 200. So that run that he had also was a meet record. He won. He was second all time in school history, and he got the meet record. And then Trayshawn Smith in the high jump. So 3 different meet records there. Top 3 sweep of the meet. We had 2 different events where we swept the podium, 1, 2, and 3. In the high jump and the men's 60 meters. So that's getting 1, 2, and 3. That's a lot of points when you're at these track and field meets. And then this is the best one. I love this. We're seeing so much of this all season long. I'm going to count these off, but this is currently top 5 in the Sun Belt. While I'm counting these off, if you would, count up how many of these are number 1 and count up how many of these are number 2 in the Sun Belt. So currently, top 5 in the Sun Belt, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, and 27 different athletes are top 5 in their respective events in the Sun Belt right now when you look at times or distances or whatever.
Wow. And out of those 27, you said 3 are number 1 in the Sun Belt, another 6 are number 2 in the Sun Belt.
So if this doesn't tell you and we've spent a lot of time here the last 2 weeks, and rightfully so, talking about this program, it is up on the rise, the same as we were telling you guys about women's soccer. And hey, pay attention to women's soccer. It's turning a corner. Here's the corner that they have turned, and they're going. And, I hear people all the time say, well, but it's still doing it with the previous coaches, athletes. We were talking about record setters and everything. Well, those are all gone now. I mean, there might be a couple here, but when you're looking here at the top 5 all-time records, and we have so many from right here from this year, it's turned the corner and it's going nowhere but up.
Yeah. And that makes me wonder, like, what do we got to do to get Keith Roberts, Caleb Bowen, and the rest of the staff just to come on here and really hammer home to these fans what's going on from things that they see, their system and their processes that we only talk about. We see the results. We don't see the behind the scenes and the philosophies and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's what folks need to really hear, because it's great to be able to get on here and talk about breaking records and all-time school this, and personal best that, and number 1 in the Sun Belt this, and this Randy Moss record might go down, but but the coaches really speak to that because they know that what they're doing, and we only see what is being done. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. I'd love to talk to to that coaching staff and
Yeah.
get some knowledge. Like I'm a casual track and field fan at best. I understand what the events are. I couldn't tell you at all how they're scored. You know what I mean? Like team scoring and stuff like that. I mean, but
I've
I'm a
got a tip
casual
for you.
I'm a casual fan at best, but it's so cool that to see this program. I mean, I felt like in years past, not recent years, because when you talk about athletes like Kylie Maston and Abby Herring, like obviously these
Yeah.
are all-time greats. And Marshall's had all-time greats before, but it really felt like that we just had track and field as a varsity sport because we needed, just as a sport. But now it feels like this is a competitive sport that you can go out and capture championships with. So it's just like a complete evolution of the sport, especially since Keith Roberts has been at the helm of this program.
I've got a little cheat sheet here for you for helping you when you
Please
know how
don't
they
tell
score.
me. Hold on. Please don't tell me if you run the fastest. That's usually the one that wins.
Man, come on. I was going to say if you run faster or jump higher then or throw further than the person behind you, you get more points than them. We're going to move over to tennis, and it's a great start to the spring semester. They picked up 2 wins to start the spring: 4-1 over EKU, 5-2 over Bellarmine. We were Bellarmine heavy this past couple of weeks. I want to say they say that they're playing against LSU, UCF, and UCLA all on Saturday. That I don't know. Saturday is going to be rough. It's not here, so it might be just enough south that they don't have to worry about that. But we'll see. They're scheduled for facing 3 teams on Saturday. One of them is kind of a tri-meet or whatever you call where 3 different teams are meeting up and having matches in tennis. I don't know what it's called. Swim and drive, just like tennis swept the courts, ladies swept the pool on Saturday, and I was able to go over there for Friday night. I went to that one, but Friday night into Saturday, they had Bowling Green both days in Duquesne all on Saturday. Ended up beating Bowling Green 136-105. Duquesne 128-113. Listen, there are, I think, 3, maybe 4 different swimmers that had multiple wins in their events and everything. It's all in herd zone because we were so heavy talking about track and field. I just want everybody to go over there and read that article and see all that. We can't spend another 15 minutes talking about it, but what we can do is say that just like we were talking about programs being on the rise, this is one that has been on the rise already, and it seems like their trajectory just keeps going up. You probably saw, maybe you didn't, I put from the event over there, I took a little shot of the leaderboard over there, and they changed that, and I don't think they've even put up some of the ones from like 2026, if there have been or anything like that, but it is really heavy for recent things, both at the pool and the school records. So just one of those things, you see them continuing going up. But one of them that I remember, Elise Wood won 2, maybe 3 different events. We had a couple of times when I was there where we had the top 2 finishes, and it seemed like our athletes were pushing each other to get faster times. So last thing I'm going to say about this, they're scheduled for 9:30 on Saturday. This is their last regular season meet before they go to the American Conference Championships. And I would like to see everybody, before that snow hits, get over there, support these ladies. I took my 3 kids. My wife went with me. They had a blast. The kids had a blast watching the diving, watching the swimming, learning about the different events, especially with the relays and the medleys and everything, to where you're having to switch your strokes, going from backstroke to breaststroke and different things in medleys. They loved everything about it. They just thought it was the coolest thing. So if you've got kids, you've got nothing to do before the basketball game starts at noon on Saturday, you can go right there because KD, how do you get into the swim and dive?
The biggest mystery on the campus of Marshall University. So you guys remember where the old ticket office used to be in the CAM? You would walk in on 3rd Avenue side there and enter the first set of doors to the right, and go up the steps just a little bit, and there's the door to enter the stands for the Fitch. So it's hard if you don't know how to get there, because man, I wandered like Russ wandered. I wandered forever one day until I finally found someone that was on their way and asked if they could show me as well. And they really need to put some freaking signs up or something, man, to like help people get there.
There's a massive one. If you go up the ramp, or if you're coming from the skywalk from the parking garage, you go through the main doors on that level. You don't have to go up the steps inside where you're talking. You just walk past the doors where those steps will come out where you're talking. So the very first set of doors, that just leads to steps going down, and that goes to where the old ticket office is. The very next set of doors that you go to, it kind of, the hallway rounds over to there. They've got a massive channel letters that says swimming and diving, and they have a table set up right there before the meet starts, and they've got people out there with the schedules with the athletes on there, for signatures and things like that, so you cannot miss it. Just go onto the concourse of the Henderson Center like you're going to the basketball game, from the ramp on the outside, and it'll be the second set of doors on the right that you go through.
There you go. It's difficult to find the first time, but after that, but I still think, hey man, do some favors out here and put some signage like Natch, the Fitch this way.
Well, when we had to go to the pool, we went to the actual pool, and you don't get there. You don't get there from there. And I kept wondering, where's all the fans going to be?
Yeah.
And I ended up, when I went over there for the first time, I went through Gullickson, and I ended up almost stepping into the pool. I was so close. So, just get over there. It'd be a great time to take them over there before everybody gets snowed in from Snowmageddon. Get over and watch a little bit of a warm weather sport. All right, women's basketball had the absolute wheels fall off. Lost at JMU on Thursday, 80-43. They were down 27-2 after the first quarter.
Been there.
They climbed back and did not quit, but then it seemed like they got close. They chipped away. They went on a 9-0 run, all this stuff, and then JMU would just go on another run and make it even worse. Then they got down again on Saturday at ODU and was down, I think, 20. I can't remember what it was. But they came all the way back, tied the game, forced it into overtime, and ended up losing by 2. What a valiant effort they had for that. It just shows you this team is dangerous. They can go on as many runs as you want. They've done it all year. But right now they are sorely missing a starter in Olivia Olson, the freshman that came in this season, has really helped them stretch the court from behind the arc. I feel like she's missed on defense right now. But anytime that you have 10, 11 players that you're rotating in and out, and one of them goes down, it's just going to hurt everybody else because everybody's got to step up and play more minutes.
Sure.
All right, so they will be at Southern Miss at 6 p.m. And then ULM Friday. Oh, that's on Thursday. And then Friday, ULM at 3 p.m. So 2 games on the road. Watch those on ESPN Plus. Hopefully they are able to get out of there on Friday and get back before all this snow stuff happens with any flights, buses, whatever they might be doing. And finally, men's basketball lost 85-83 at home to Coastal Carolina last Wednesday, right after Jed and I got done recording. That game came on. They were down 13 points almost midway through the second half in that game. And then they got back to where they could have either taken the lead or tied in the final 15 to 20 seconds. Ended up got a foul with mere tenths of a second left. They missed the first free throw, meaning they had to purposely miss the second one and get a tip in, and they just could not do it. So they ended up losing that game 85-83. Bounced back with a big win on Saturday over JMU at home, 77-72. They host ULM on Thursday at noon, like we already talked about. Game's been moved up because of weather, and also moved up again. Reminder: South Alabama at noon on Saturday. KD, anything you want to talk about with the men's or women's basketball?
No, not really. The only thing that I want to mention is there is a big game coming up. We're not looking ahead by any means. We still have several games to play in conference before this one, but you have to keep an eye on that February 7th matchup, which is part of the MAC Sun Belt Challenge. When Miami, Ohio is coming to the Cam Henderson Center, they're a top 25 team and they are freaking undefeated. So you have to pay attention to that one. Just because it may be an opportunity where Miami's pushing 23, 24, 25-0. I don't know how many games they have between here and there, but think about that. Historic rival. Anytime you match up against Miami, you want to lay one on them. You just do. But this will be a big game opportunity for the Herd at home. So they're going to need a very, very, very loud crowd. It would not surprise me if Miami is still undefeated, might catch a little bit of primetime viewing. You might get a marquee time slot TV exposure for that one. So just keep an eye on that one. It's in the distance. Again, it's February 7th. You got some 3, 4, 5 games between, that one going on. So, but Miami undefeated, top 25. Pretty cool.
KD, that does it for Around the Herd, and thanks to Layer One Solutions for helping us get there.
Well, man, it was really, really cool to be able to put in a second episode this week. I haven't done that in a while, but I appreciated the shout out instead of just going at it alone, just to see if I happen to be available. And yeah, I'm still kind of on the mend a little bit. So I'd like to being able to sit down here, talk Herd with you, do 5 things. Haven't done that in a while. Really, really miss kind of doing that. So if you got nothing else, take us out of here.
Yeah, whether you see us at the Fitch on Saturday, whether you see us at the Cam on Saturday, or whether you see us getting snowed in for probably the next 3 weeks, because that's what everybody keeps saying on social media, no matter where you see us, we're going to be saying, go Herd.
Go Herd. It's the ThunderCast. You'll see me down here at the fun in the sun, in the Sunshine State. We'll see you next week. Later.